My name is Aisha Ibrahim and this is Election Brief. We're live on DSTV channel 421, GoTV channel 125 and all our social media handles at Joy News on TV. My personal handle is @Denan Aisha. Election Headquarters is brought to you by Petrosol, your clean fuel in full quantity. The Chartered Institute of Management Accountants, CIMA, and AICPA together as the Association of International Certified Professional Accountants, German Ozone Medical Center, Alternative Therapy, Dental Wellness and Beauty, Chopbox Technologies, a convenience service, and Youth Bridge Foundation. Election Headquarters is for an informed electorate. Please do stay for details. And I'll be explaining to you why I have this book with you. Stay with me. Both the NPP and NDC clashed at the Ghana CEO Summit when Vice President Bawumia joined the summit via Zoom yesterday. Immediately, the former President Mahama finished addressing the business community. The two politicians pointed accusing fingers at each other over who has better managed the economy, corruption, and other pressing issues. The following report has more.
The NDC flag bearer, John Mahama, was the first to mount the stage when he promised to stabilize the city in his first 100 days in office by launching an urgent economic recovery and fiscal consolidation plan following a national economic dialogue should he win power in December. The former president added that this will be done by cutting government expenditure and widening the tax net.
The number one priority will be stabilizing the economy and restoring a stable currency. We will launch an urgent economic recovery and fiscal consolidation plan following a national economic dialogue which we intend to hold within 100 days of assumption of office. We'll do this by pruning the huge size of government, reducing government expenditure, preventing waste and corruption, and boosting revenues by expanding the tax net. We'll simplify the value-added tax and streamline its collection. We'll abolish the e-levy and some taxes that have become a burden on businesses and households. And will not burden you with endless tax orders and harass you with IOCO. We'll continue digitalizing our revenue collection and payment systems. By 2028, we aim to phase out cash as a form of payment for all government services. We'll also entrench the use of POS devices in transactions to make tax and levy collection more transparent.
Moments after John Mahama's speech, the host of the program read a WhatsApp message from the Vice President and NPP flag bearer, Dr. Bawumia, of his desire to join the conversation on Zoom and respond to the former president, quote and unquote, boot for boot. Dr. Bawumia jabbed the former president, whom he says rubbished some of the NPP's flagship programs, including the free SHS policy.
You look at our investment in technical and vocational education, over 6 billion Ghana cedis in the last 7 years, the highest investment in technical and vocational education by any government in the Fourth Republic. And we've made technical and vocational education also free in that context. You are seeing, in terms of our development authorities, a major completion of projects, 1,609 projects completed under the development authorities. The Northern Development Authority has completed about 304 projects so far. And so we are not talking about guinea fowl projects or planting projects and so on. It's very, very tree planting projects that burned when they were planted. So we can talk about this economy that you say has not done well is doing better than you did when you were president, Your Excellency. And so you can see. And then we implemented free senior high school education. Now that is one major landmark policy that we have put in place. And that, most people thought it wasn't going to be possible. In fact, the former president said if he had 2 billion Ghana cedis, he wouldn't invest it in pre-senior high school education. But well, we have, and the benefits are huge.
If the jabs thrown at the Ghana CEO Summit are anything to go by, then the campaign trail is certainly one to watch.
And as the nation heads to the polls in December, more private individuals have declared their intentions to contest as independent candidates. Today, I've been joined in the studio by one of them. My guest is Dr. Nia Modako, a physician, politician, and philosopher. He currently plies his trade as a physician in Australia after training as a surgeon in South Africa between 1995 and 2000. Welcome to Election Brief, Dr. Amu.
Thank you very much, Aisha.
The first question I want to put to you, you're a successful physician. You're actually practicing in Australia. A lot more people want visas to travel outside Ghana. So as a successful physician, I mean, what do you want in politics? Why do you want to become president?
Well, it's because Ghana has made me who I am, and I have to put something back into the community. People don't know the road I've traveled to be in Australia where I am today. I just came from here, Osu. I was born in Osu and did my primary education there to Ghana, to Presec and medical school in Kolebu, Lagos and Kolebu, before I left the shores of Ghana to South Africa, like you said. Now, once you leave this country, you have two main things in your mind. Either you're going there for bread and bacon, or you're going there to bring something back into your community.
Okay.
Now, my background, I'm a descendant of Tetekwashi. Okay. So we know how to bring something from outside here.
Okay.
He went to Fernando Po basically to go and buy coal tar for his blacksmith job. But he ended up bringing cocoa
To Ghana.
to Ghana. So I've gone there to practice medicine, okay, but I'm bringing something else back to Ghana to continue the job my ancestor did.
Okay.
Now, if you are brought up like me, you know the difficulty that every Ghanaian faces every day. It's just by grace of God that I could go to a public school in Osu and rise to where I am today. I wanted to make it less difficult for others in Osu and other places who want to be like me. Because now it's impossible. So the reason why I'm in politics is to give access to those who otherwise would not. I got access in my time because of combination of various factors. But now I know it's very, very hard.
What are you bringing differently?
Well, the different thing I'm bringing is the, how would I call it? A new mindset.
Okay.
You see, the African reform movement that you see there is not about a continental government. It's to reform the mindset of the African. When we were young, there was this trotro from La with the inscription at the back, Monday Sunday. Now, when you live in Ghana, a complete black country, and you go to South Africa, a biracial country, and you go to Australia, a homogeneous white country, then you know the role of mindset in development. You can see as you move from the first world to the second, from the third world to the second world and to the first world. You see the role our mindset plays in our development as individuals and as nation. The attitude to work, the ethics of work, the respect for time, and all these things. You see how they depreciate like the city as you go from the, as you move from the first world to the third world. And you see how they appreciate like the dollar as you move from the third world to the first world. You got major mindset problem. Now, if you haven't been there, you can't correct it. If you haven't been there, if you haven't seen how it works, if you haven't seen the continuous growth of such economies, you can't do anything about that.
What has been your political experience, I mean, prior to this journey that you want to embark on?
Political experience in terms of my engagement with politics.
Exactly.
Okay, like I said before, I was brought up here in Osu. And for those of you who know the history of Ghana, you realize that the main catalyst that brought our independence sooner than the rest of Africa was the boycott staged by New Caledon. Now, New Caledon house is just 100 meters from my house. And in our place, there's a place called Guardian in Osu.
Okay.
That was the place that Nibon actually grouped his troops before they raided Accra in January 1948. So I was brought up in an environment charged with politics. When I was growing up, 1970, that's my real first encounter with politics. 1978, I was just then 12 years old. And Achiampong brought his Unigolf. My granduncle, Mr. Arisoya, was one of the local leaders who were for the no. And our house in Osu Blogodo near the garden was that was the main place. Okay. People like Alajete, Mr. No, Azozo, all of them were coming to our house. And that was a small way they used to stand around to go and buy kenke and domestic. So I was always sitting down listening to what they were talking about. Okay. So that actually brought my interest. Then went to secondary school. Secondary school, we had a secondary school teacher, Mr. Alfred Saki. In Form 2, he came to teach us history and went through the revolutions of the world. And he was very enthused with socialism. He spoke so much about the Russian Revolution, and he brought all these ideas of socialism. So those who don't know, when I started my political journey, I thought I was a socialist.
Right. So you've written a number of books.
Yeah.
And one of the books I have with me here is The Fifth Republican Constitutional Reforms to Rescue, Resuscitate, and Restore Ghana.
Yes.
That's what you say.
Yes.
The first thing I see when I open this book is, I think, page 15, where you talk about chapter 2, which you say is flawed. You said the proliferation of districts since Kufuor's regime and regional balkanization agenda of Akufo-Addo testified the uselessness of this chapter in 1992 Constitution. Useless, you say?
Yes, absolutely useless.
Why?
Because nothing is linked to productivity.
Okay, explain to me.
Well, we started with 110 districts. Okay, now we have about 260 districts. And what's the productive? What has it done to the economy and to those who have received their new districts? We created 6 new regions. And it was only when COVID came that Akufo-Addo realized that there were no regional hospitals for those 6 regions. And there were no district hospitals for those, I don't know the number of new districts. So what was the whole idea of dividing regions into more districts and dividing more districts into more districts?
To make it more manageable.
How is that possible? You see, because when you have a place like the North, okay, that had 3 regions before, Upper East, Upper West, and Northern region. Now, Upper West, for instance, only 2.8% of our population live in Upper West. But Upper West carries 32% of extreme poverty. Okay, now dividing Upper region into Upper East and Upper West hasn't yielded any dividend. 2.8% carries 32% of extreme poverty. Of all the extreme poverty in the country, 1/3 can be found in the smallest region. What's the attention paid by governments to that?
So what's your recommendation to that chapter of the Constitution?
Well, that chapter in the whole Constitution must go. What I'm saying is this: there must be reason why a place should be called a region.
Okay.
Okay, there must be a reason why a place is called a district. You can't just get up and create districts. I come from Osu. Until recently, Osu was part of AMB. They've carved out Osu from AMB. What has changed in Osu? It's been filthier than before. So what's the point? What's the point of creating a new bureaucracy that will suck more money with no economic benefit?
Let's look at chapter 5 of your page 66 of this book, where you talk about the whole chapter 5 that talks about the executive. You seem to have a lot of problems with this chapter. Yeah. What exactly are the problems that you think that this chapter has?
I mean, the executive is very problematic in many ways. In the first place, there's no cap on number of ministers. There's no cap. The president can decide that he wants 100 ministers. Nobody can tell him anything. He doesn't have to justify to Parliament why he needs 70 ministers or 100 ministers or 200 ministers. Okay, so that's problematic. Now, I also have a problem with the structure even of the executive. I don't believe in vice presidency. Okay, it's a waste of time. Apparently, Dr. Bawumia went to complain in the North some time ago recently that, oh, it's just like an appendage and they're only giving dirty work to do that, because there's no real constitutional portfolio for him. He's the head of the economic management team. But apparently, according to him, that's an advisory council committee. He has no power.
You don't believe that the president needs an assistant?
Not in this way. I believe in split executive. That you have a president and a prime minister. The president as the head of state and the prime minister as the head of government. That's what I believe in. So that there's a constitutional, real, proper role for the second gentleman or second lady or whatever in the land. Not somebody who will be there and will be asked to go and do this, whether they like it or they can do it. I believe strongly, and it's not only that I believe, but that's our traditional setup. But
you can't use Bawumia and Akufo-Addo as a judgment for this provision in the Constitution. If you look at Atta Mills and Mahama, you can't say same.
I can say the same. What was Mahama's portfolio? Because
Mahama was given the opportunity to, he was seen more doing a lot of work than if you want to compare Bawumia and Akufo-Addo.
Because that's the problem with the Constitution. Okay. It's too discretionary. Okay, it's too discretionary. So it behoves on the president to decide that I want you to do this, I want to. No, we want it to be prescriptive that there's a president who does this and there's a prime minister who does that. Okay, because you realize that when Ibn Sata died and the NDC people went there, the wife was very upset. Apparently, she even sacked them because the opportunities that Atta Mills gave John Mahama didn't give Ibn Sata. Okay, because that's his prerogative. Okay. He's got that discretion what to give to the vice and what not to give to the vice. Okay. And so, Mr. wife was very upset. She was beside herself that you have point where she didn't say that, but she said, I can't believe this. I can't believe this hypocrisy. Because we know that at some point, Mr. wanted to resign. Because the Constitution says that this is what you can do. Chairman of economic management team, which your advice could be rejected. All right, we want to move away from that. Okay. Yeah.
All right, so that means that you will not be going into the election with a running mate.
No, because we are working with this constitution. That's why the title is the Fifth Republic. I'm talking of a new
republic. Yes. And that will start with you as president?
Yes, that's what I'm going to campaign on. And when I get a nod, that's what I will take to Parliament.
You want to change Ghana's constitution? Yes, you have absolutely. What it takes?
Of course
you think you can do it?
Of course I can.
Okay.
What's so special about that?
How are you going to do it? Because there's, it's just public knowledge that there's no political will. People like you will come and talk about how the Constitution is fraught with challenges and the need for us to reform. They get the power and they become reluctant because they have so much power, which they don't want to give out.
Nobody has written the Fifth Republic. Nobody in this country. Okay. Nobody has sat down to actually itemize what is wrong and how he's going to correct it. Okay, nobody has done that. Never in the history of Ghana.
So you will get a running mate?
Yes, well, that's the constitution. That's what the president says.
And when you get power, you will now do away with the running mate?
No, I won't do away. You see, UAE, they have what they call, that's United Arab Emirates. They have a president and a vice president. But the vice president is also the prime minister. Okay. So the vice president is also the prime minister. Kufuor had an idea. He decided to have, instead of giving the senior minister to the vice president, he gave the senior minister to Mr. J.H. Mensah. Okay. When Nana Akufo-Addo came, he also had the same thing. But instead of giving the role of the prime minister to his vice president, he decided to give it to Mr. Safo Mahaffo.
So that's what you want to do? That's
what I would do, and I will do it differently. Because we live in this country where we had Jerry Rawlings as chairman of the PNDC and P.V. Obeng as chairman of the committee of secretaries. So he was the prime minister.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's talk about this important thing, political funding, because it's come up strongly, especially as we lead up to. Well, how are you going to fund your election, your campaign activities?
From money from members and sympathizers and well-wishers, and of course my own little money.
Okay. There's been concerns about how family, friends who help and support political parties and individuals like you to become president or leaders of the country, when they now feel that you owe them because they've all contributed to your well-being, and that you have to put this one here as minister, you have to give this person contract, and that's what breeds the family and friends who've been fighting. How are you going to deal with this?
Okay. So first of all, we have to understand that if you read this book very well, you realize that I've proposed a funding mechanism. Okay. It's not going to start with this one. It's going to be for the next and subsequent ones.
Okay.
Now, in Australia, there's a bit of funding for political parties based on your strength in parliament.
Okay.
So depending on how many seats you have in parliament, you get a set amount of money. The problem we are having now with the funding is the monetization of politics. Now, you have to run a different campaign for people to know that you are not after their money. I'm going to run a completely different campaign. So there's not going to be the issue of a big funder somewhere giving me money and then I'll give the person positions in return. People will have to understand. I mean, it's crazy. Wherever you go, people will come out, oh, honorable, this and that, all over the place. Because that's the way they've been trained by the two parties. That's the way they've been trained by the two parties. I'm sorry to say that. We have to have a new mindset. That's all it's about. You have to have a new mindset. I mean, I'm not going to depend on anybody's money. Maybe Aisha can give me $100 or something. That's fine. So I said that, you can give that. But I'm not going to depend on anybody, big money, to have any influence whatsoever on me. Yes. And adding to that.
And you think you can compete with the two major political parties with this posture? Ghanaians will
have a real choice.
Right. Let me ask you a few things happening with the voter registration exercise. You should be concerned as an aspiring candidate. I mean, today is 28th. We have about 2 days more because the EC had to add a day more. It was supposed to end 2 days ago. It's fraught with some challenges. They've had to extend the time. I mean, what's your assessment of the process so far?
I'll be very honest with you that as a person, I have not trusted in any EC after Afarijan.
Why?
I have not trusted after Afarijan because when Charlotte Osei was there, NDC became her spokesperson. Whatever she did, NDC supported.
Okay.
Oh, she changed the logo. Oh, we saw it, I liked it, and we bought it. Just like that. And NDC supported her all the way. All right. And I wrote an article, Integrity Beyond a Flawed Constitution, when Charlotte was appointed, and I pointed out these things. And when the NPP were making, I said, look, if we make Akufo-Addo president, he will do the same thing. The problem is not the president. The problem is the constitution that allows one man to appoint 7 people to form an electoral commission that is a player. One man, House of Hosts chairman, appoints the match commissioner, the referee, the linesman, and the ball boys for a match between Haas and Kotoko. How is that going to be fair? We have a structural problem. And Akufo-Addo came, and it's not the same with Jim Mensah. It's not the same. We will try and use every rule, whatever in the book, to get an undue advantage. Quite honestly, and I'll be very honest with you, I'm not too worried about what they are doing. Because election commission will never declare a winner in this country. The people will declare their winner.
Okay.
Yes. And when the time comes, even the best in the air will know who is winning the election. I'm not worried. I'm not worried. Okay. Like I said somewhere else, where I'm standing now, with all the mathematics I know, with all the history of Ghana politics, Bawumia, Alhaji Mahmoud Bawumia, is not going to get more than 26%.
Oh, really?
Yes.
You've conducted it. Have you conducted a survey?
A survey, we call it meta-analysis, metadata analysis, everything.
Based on what are you making this analysis?
Plenty. I can start right now with you here.
Okay. Let me ask you this. The CD is continuously depreciating, and everybody is worried.
Yeah.
If you're a Ghanaian, you definitely will be worried. Are you worried
Of
yourself?
course I am worried. You can ask all my supporters. When Ken read the budget in November, I came out and said that, Mr. Former President John Mahama, this is an opportunity for you to give a counter budget, to give us a different vision, okay? That's what you do in Australia. When the treasurer or the finance minister or delivers the budget, the leader of opposition gets up 48 hours, give his counter budget, so that people will know the two visions, no confusion. John Dramani Mahama didn't do that. He rather came with 24-hour economy. A very, very loose thing from the former president. But let's put that aside. But I came out and I told Ghanaians that with a deficit of 50.3 billion cedis, this government will have three options to finance the deficit. One, more tax. Two, more loans. Three, more printing. Okay. No more loans. It's not going to come from anywhere. It will be blocked from the international finance market. Taxes, you can tax so much. The easier thing for a government in this circumstance is to print more money. And I told them in November last year that this is going to kill the city. You print extra budgetary money that's not being accounted for in the budget. Okay. Now, it goes onto the market. You increase money supply. Then when supply exceeds demand, the value falls. So
you believe you have a solution to the problem of the CD?
Yes.
Well, let me wish you well, Dr. Ni Amudako, for your attempt to become president of Ghana. I wish you all the best, and we'll look out for all these things you're talking about that you're going to put in place. Now, Ghanaians living in the USA have intensified their calls for
happy birthday to you,
oh my
Aisha.
goodness.
Happy birthday to you.
Happy birthday, Aisha.
Thank you. What kind of ambush is this?
It's your birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Aisha. Happy birthday to you.
Hip, 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 hip. Hooray.
Thank you, thank you.
Happy birthday
Thank
to you,
you.
my queen Nana. Oh my God. Okay, we cut this cake in the name of the Father,
Yeah, Dr. Abu, help us.
Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen.
Amen.
Aisha is a Muslim.
Yes, I am. It's fine, thank you. And that your election headquarters. Election headquarters is for an informed election. Do enjoy the rest of our programs.